Okay. So, Mads, I've got a few questions for you.
Have you put it on autofocus? Have you focused it?
Yeah, focus it.
Okay.
Just a few questions so we can help to explain our ideas. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on fashion today?
I really have an issue with the fashion industry's ability to every single season create a whole new identity, a whole new desirable identity that we spend the whole season chasing and purchasing clothing to try and, be up with the latest fashions.
Yeah, like the whole idea of fast fashion.
Yeah, so pretty much in summary, fast fashion. I just hate how we spend so much money on clothes that have no meaning for us, and after 2 or 3 wears lose the shininess of the new purchase and just end up being discarded, and all the human labour, all the natural resources that have gone into making that piece of clothing
It's just wasted.
It's just wasted.
Yeah.
And after 2 or 3 wears, we don't even care anymore. And I also hate how the clothing that we buy off the racks, we buy and we have no idea how it got to that point, and we don't care.
Yeah.
So it's just a tangible thing in front of us that we know nothing about, but yet in reality so much has gone into that garment, and it's had such a huge life
lifespan
cycle
already.
Yeah.
Before we even purchase.
Yeah.
How have you expressed your ideas and this sort of thing through our collection that we're starting?
Well, what I'm trying to do is really embed a story into the garment so that people know how it got to that point, so they can appreciate it more, appreciate the garment, and when they wear it, they know how it was made and where it came from and the human resources that were put into it, as well as the natural resources, as well as just our love for it, or not our love, maybe our the emotional journey we've taken
to create it. And sort of like how it's kind of like a delicate collection.
Yeah.
Like in the style and in the fabrics that we are going to be using. Kind of helps to portray that thing of having something special.
Yeah, and you want to treat it carefully.
Yeah.
And so there's that side of it, but then there's also this side of it that I've taken that's inspired by really rural and isolated New Zealand settings, and I think that has been a huge source of inspiration, because when we live in such a fast-paced world, it's so nice to have that calmness and that serenity that you get from being in those landscapes or in that environment.
Yeah. And also the colours that we're using, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's just so, you feel so calm with that colour palette, and it really does help affect your mood.
And last question, why is our story important for this? Important to show this? Our story of our friendship.
Because I think it's a good story, and it's one that people will enjoy hearing.
Yeah.
And
people can relate to it too.
Yeah, people can relate to it, and it's something that they can feel a connection to. So therefore, by embedding it in our clothing, they're feeling a connection to us, and they're getting to know us, and so then they're getting to know more about the garment.
Yeah.
And just the people behind it, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is, it all builds to the connection of the clothing.
Yeah.
And as well as that, we've used things like wool and muslin, which for both of us I think have such nice connotations
And bring back memories and
back
stuff.
memories, as well as going back to that natural factor, because they're natural and pure, and it's just going back to the basics of fashion and clothing and making it a more simple and more sustainable journey.
Yes, very good. And these are just, I don't know if you can see them on this, just some images that I'm going to be using as inspiration for the textiles. So they're of like coastal New Zealand, taken from bird's eye view. So they're just my starting point of where I'll be taking off to design textiles. And that's it for today. Cool.